Welcome back, everyone. Back on the floor. Back in my room, but back on the floor. It just feels right. I don't know what it is. Feel like I connect to you guys better on the floor, so gonna roll with it. Gonna see how long I can continue to sit on the floor and speak about serious topics. So, I want to talk about love versus fear today. This is something I've written about a lot, and I think I've even talked about it on this channel a little bit. So, to get us started, and this whole thing was kind of inspired by this Eben Britton, who used to be a offensive guard in the NFL. He has kind of turned into an internet personality, and he has his own podcast. He used to do a podcast with Mike Tyson. I'm sure you guys have seen clips of him at this point. He has he talks a lot about what I talk about with like the spiritual stuff and consciousness and discovering all that and all that comes with it. And I just really like listening to him. I mean, first of all, he has a very like deep voice but very calming. And I mean, seriously, look him up. Like, he's very entertaining to listen to. Um, but he made a post on Instagram a couple days ago. He did like a 4-minute video talking about this, and I wanted to read part of the caption he put. So he said, "Get out of the mind and into the heart. We cannot outrun the truth of our heart. How did we become so wholly identified in the mind? How have we let the intellect overrun our lives? It has been said before by many wise people, the mind is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. We can believe whatever thoughts we want, get completely taken out to sea by beliefs and perspectives, but the truth of the heart will always emerge." And this is something that, again, I wrote about in my book. I've written about it in articles. Talked about on here that our mind is not always there to serve us. And again, a few videos ago, I talked about the ego and how the ego can betray us a lot. And I think a lot of people, if not most people, live their entire lives connected to their ego, where they think that the ego is there for them, and it can be in some regards, but a lot of times our negative thoughts come from the ego and come from creating scenarios that aren't real and come from fear, and they just overtake us to a point where we're just in a very bad negative cycle, and that all stems from that negative thinking. And again, that's what I've been talking about a lot lately. So if you want to know more, go back to my channel, look at some of the previous videos I've posted. But I want to talk a little bit about the heart versus the mind, as Evan was talking about there. So the mind is our consciousness, right? And I wanted to make a comparison to nature, because humans are a part of nature, but we are different from the rest of nature because we have the level of consciousness that we have, where we can really analyze things and think. And while we do live on instinct to a certain amount, to a certain extent, we oftentimes think through things logically, which can be helpful, but sometimes logic kind of clashes with reality and what is truly the best thing for us, and it clashes with love. I mean, think about the love in your life you have. It's not something that you can always explain. And these connections we have to people are not always explainable. So how can you see the logic in that? If you can't construct or deconstruct something and be able to put the pieces together to why you feel this way about something, then it didn't come from your mind, it came from your heart, because there's no logic in it. So think about, I mean, the next evolutionary step would be animals. And I think animals do have a level of consciousness where they can analyze a situation and react to it. But a lot of the time, they're just going off their instincts and they're trying to survive. And so if they kill another animal, it's because either they're hungry and they need to eat, which is survival, or they're defending themselves because they feel threatened, which is survival. And humans do this too with other people. It doesn't have to necessarily be murder, but it could just be being mean to someone or yelling at someone or cutting someone out of your life. And that does come from a place of defense and survival, but it comes from your ego and not your animal instincts. So if someone, for example, like let's say a girl rejects you, and just think, or a guy. I guess I shouldn't assume that my entire viewership is interested in women, but let's just say a person rejects you romantically, and how how do you react to it now, or how have you reacted to it in the past? Have you gone to a place immediately where you don't like them anymore? You say, "Oh, they missed out. What are they doing? Like, I don't like them anymore. I'm never going to talk to them." That is coming from your ego being hurt because your ego feels like that person just hates you, and it feels attacked is really what it is. Your ego feels attacked by that person rejecting you. And it could come from a job too. If a job turns you down or a person doesn't want to be friends with you anymore, your ego goes into that defense mode where it fills your mind with all these thoughts, these negative thoughts about that person because they felt like, or the ego felt like it was done wrong by this person. And this is why I don't take things personally anymore, because I've recognized that our the actions people do can sometimes be to hurt us or because of us, but a lot of times people are doing what's best for them. And while that may hurt you in the process, it's usually not intentional. So the way I kind of look at it is I don't necessarily try to look at what they did, but how they did it. So if there's a person that I'm interested in romantically that loses interest in me or just never had interest in me, what I'm looking for is not the fact that they're not interested in me, but how they handle it. So if this person ghosts me, for example, or rejects me in like a very mean way, then I'm gonna look at it as in this person is coming from a place of hurt, and for them to do this, and I'm not going to take it personally, but I also don't appreciate the way they handled it, so I'm not going to be interested in this person anymore anyway and be fine with it. But if this is a person that handles it very well and maybe they communicate very well, they, whether it's text or in person, they explain their side of it, then how can you be mad at that? Like, this life is about flow, and what comes to us is what's supposed to come to us. What doesn't come to us is what's it's not supposed to come to us. So how can you be angry in that situation if they handle it properly? So a lot of times though, we go against this animal instinct we have where we're looking for love and acceptance and all that, and instead of going towards what we want and what we need, we let our ego get in the middle of that and hold us back. I mean, we should, and it's easier said than done. And you should go through some sort of a, not a grieving process, but you should go through a process where you kind of go through your emotions and properly handle that rejection. But the longer you hold on to something, the longer it's going to take for you to get to the right thing. So how I look at relationships now is if something doesn't work out, it's just one step closer to the next thing. And it allows me to move on so much easier because I've recognized the quicker you move on, the quicker you can get to that next thing. So the ego will get in our way though and just keep us in our same place. And we should constantly be trying to evolve and move forward. And when the ego steps in the way because it's hurt, it just holds you back. So that's why, again, what Evan's talking about, out of the mind and into the heart. Get out of your mind and come from a place of empathy and understanding, and recognize that not everything happens, not everything is an attack on you, and things happen as they should. So you should willingly accept those things. And if you don't connect to the fact that we have like an animal instinct, and that we kind of, I mean, we talk about gut instinct a lot and gut feeling. I mean, just think in your past, how often has that worked out for you? It's probably worked out a lot. And it's, again, it's something we can't explain. It doesn't make sense. So if you can't connect to that, though, and if you don't agree with me or believe that there's something instilled upon us at birth when we come into this universe that is kind of our truth, so to speak, then I want you to think about this. I want you to think about your favorite food. I want you to think about your favorite color. I want you to think about your favorite hobby. I want you to think about just everything that you like, and try to explain why you like it. The odds are you're not going to have a very good answer, because it's just who we are. It's what we're born with. I mean, like, if you're going to answer that question, probably I like it because I like it, or I like it because it makes me happy. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. These things are instilled upon us at birth. They're not explainable. It's just nature. And it's animal instinct and all that. And the more we can tap into that stuff, I believe the higher places we'll go and the further we'll go. And another separate point, which I meant to talk about earlier, this video is longer than I thought it'd be, but love versus fear driven decisions. So there are so many people, and this is something I've fought against the past year, because I graduated from college a year ago and I haven't gotten like a big boy job, so to speak. I haven't entered the next level of income or social hierarchy, all that stupid stuff that people care about. I guess income's not a stupid thing to care about, but so the reason I've done that is because I don't want to work a job to make more money. I want to work a job because I feel like it's important, and I want to come from a place of love instead of fear. And the fear behind working a job that you don't like for the money is you want comfortability. You want security. You want that money for your future, for now, whatever. You want something that's going to make you feel secure in the future. But what you're giving in exchange for that security is hating your life. I mean, if you work a job that you hate and you are doing things that you don't like or agree with for a paycheck, you're going to get to a point where you just hate everything. I mean, if you're waking up every day dreading going to work, dreading doing this or that, you're just going to hate life. So is it really worth it to make all that money if you don't have anything else enjoyable in life? So, and again, it's a little bit trickier when it comes to jobs, because I recognize I'm very privileged in that I still live with my parents and I'm able to not have to pay for a bunch. I mean, I pay most of my bills. I basically just don't pay rent. But again, I'm very thankful for that, because rent is pretty expensive. So, and a lot of people are straddled with debt. They have families, and working for a paycheck may be necessary. But the very least you can do is start taking small steps towards doing what you love because you love it. And whether that's starting a side gig or something like that, you can always do something to progress to where you want to be, and to live and to get on the path that your heart laid out for you rather than your mind. Because again, your mind doesn't, I think the way to look at it is that your mind is earthly, so it's going to be logical. It's going to live from that place of security, and it's going to want to feel safe. But your heart and your soul is something that's beyond earth. It comes from, and again, if you don't believe in God or a higher power, a lot of this stuff just won't make sense. So if you're not interested in that, then this probably isn't the channel for you. But this stuff is bestowed upon us by a higher power. So it's basically impenetrable. And that's why if you look at a lot of these people that talk about spirituality, and again, as a 23-year-old kid that just got into this stuff, I don't have the fruits of that to really prove it. But if you look at a lot of these people like Evan and other people that are older and have gone through this for a long time, there's so much evidence that living from a place of love and living by your heart rather than your mind pays off. And you know, the finance thing is the tough thing to overcome because again, everyone needs money. And a lot of times doing what we love means sacrificing money. So it is a hard thing. I'm not going to act like it's easy. But if you look at it from a long-term perspective, I think that money always comes in. It always is you're always going to be repaid for your early sacrifices. So that's why I personally am very thankful to have gotten on this path at my age and my current situation, because I don't have anything straddling me down really. Again, I have very supportive parents that allow me to do what I want and do what I love, and I don't have to worry about paying for a bunch of stuff all the time. So I'm able to, not work as many hours. Like because of the surgery, my plan is to be off for a couple months. I mean, I'm hoping to get work before that, but I'm lucky enough to be at a place where I can take time off and I am able to, make videos a lot and write a lot. So again, I'm very happy that I've gone on this path at this age because I'm able to, I don't have much to lose right now. I'm able to be very risky and I don't have to worry about security. So again, I could go deeper in a lot of this stuff, but just try to think, if it makes any sense, try to think with your heart more than your mind. And when it comes to your heart, though, you don't really have to think. You kind of just know. I mean, again, think about the stuff you like to do and do that stuff. There's if you're looking at it from a career perspective, because that's what I'm kind of been focusing on lately, I mean, you're gonna be able to make money doing anything. You just have to stick with it for a long time. The paths that I'm going after now are not very lucrative. I mean, my ideal future would be I'm making money off YouTube, I'm making money off Twitter, or not Twitter, I'm making money off of podcasting, I'm making money off writing books. I mean, those are all extremely difficult places to make money. But I really like speaking my truth and talking about this stuff and helping people. And I believe that all those pathways, I can do that. And I know that if I stick with it long enough, this word will start to resonate with more and more people. And that financial security that I need at some point will come. So again, just try to think, just try to go with your heart and not your mind. Don't be scared. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't get a job or not take a job because what your parents or friends say. Those people want the best for you, but they don't completely understand you, so they're never going to completely know. So if someone challenges you on something, whether it's a job you take or a job you don't take, because a lot of people, they'll say they passed up a well-paying job and they'll get criticized for it. But it's no one ever thinks about what comes with the job. What is the actual person that's going to be in this job? How are they going to feel? How much work are they going to have to put in? That's something that outsiders never care about. They just care about the end result, which is the money. So the only person that can properly make those decisions is you. So just try to think from that place of love. And even if it's not a career, if you're very happy with what you do, people, again, like I mentioned earlier, whether it's friends, family, romantic partners. Just try to not take things personally. Try not to let your ego get in the way and get defensive, and all these things will start to flow. I mean, I've been doing this well, I just made the video yesterday. I think a lot of this stuff has happened in the past 5 months for me, and there's not a ton of tangible things yet. Again, I think the only tangible stuff I could get out of it's like money and views and all that, which I haven't gotten a lot of. But again, it's been a very short amount of time. And the important stuff to me right now is the intangible stuff. So, how many great friends do I have around me? I don't have anyone in my life that I don't like. Everyone in my life is very valuable to me, and that's something that I haven't been able to say in the past. And those relationships continue to propel me forward because all the support I get from people is incredible. And it really motivates me to keep going. So I have that. I have just the inner peace now where I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I feel like I'm on the right path. And again, that's another sense of motivation where I feel like I can do no wrong right now. I really feel like everything I put out into the world is amazing and is useful and valuable. So just try to come from this place of love and don't let the fear overtake you because it will challenge you on a daily basis, every day. It'll challenge you every hour, most likely. I mean, you're going to have interactions with people. You're going to have people on the internet. There's always going to be someone that tries to get in the way. And they will only get in the way if you give them the power to do so. So don't let your ego speak for you. Let your heart speak for you. And you will be rewarded.